All right, let's bring in Dan Bongino, host of Unfiltered and a former police officer here in New York City. Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Dan,
ladies, how are you?
On this Monday, we're not doing so well. You look at the news, a brand new Fox News poll. Number one thing people are all across the country concerned with is inflation. Number two, and really close behind it, is people are worried about crime. And over the weekend, 4 police officers shot, 2 dead. 1 is just clinging to life by a thread. There's a cop shot in D.C. yesterday. A Texas, he thankfully has been released from the hospital. There's a Texas deputy constable. He was murdered. And then you had the ambush up in Harlem where the rookie officer Jason Rivera and his partner Wilbert Mora, he is just hanging by a thread. But it's one of those days, and you see the police officer who died. Dan, this is one of those days that you talk about, you always worry about when you put on the badge.
Yeah, and their families worry about it. It's not just them; it's the spouses, the moms, the dads, and the kids that worry. I mean, think about it, right? You leave the house. How many jobs in America do you genuinely have to be concerned that you're going to come home that night? And the answer is, thankfully, not many. There are some that are very dangerous, but this is one of them. And guys, listen, let's just be clear, okay? Again, it's Monday morning and all, but the cutesy time about this is over, okay? You want to play like cutesy time with the messaging, find another guy, because I ain't the guy right now.
He's saying guns are the problem.
No, so guns are the problem. Okay, so let's walk through the logic of that asinine statement. So just to be clear, New York City has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation.
Exactly.
And his logic is that people go and buy guns in permissive states where you can get a gun, and they don't commit the crime there. They go to a place where the gun laws are really strict. Has anybody processed how, be careful, it's the word, how stupid that is? Just to be clear, one more time, Brian. So Eric Adams, the supposed change agent in New York, who's just more of the same, I'm telling you, watch when there's the first police shooting. This guy will bail on every one of these reforms. His logic is, people go and buy guns in other states where you can protect yourself and commit crimes where the gun laws are more severe. And the logic is we should then make more severe gun laws. And that makes perfect sense to him. Here, but on this front, though, this is important, right? People voted for this. That's why I said, you want to play cutesy time with these folks? Fine, you go right ahead. Alvin Bragg, the new Soros type, don't enforce any, minor crimes, whatever he considers minor crimes guy. He won, guys, by 60 points. No, not 6. I didn't misspeak, not 16. So to the people in Manhattan, I'm not talking to the good folks who are sick of this crap, but the people in Manhattan and around the 5 boroughs, you did this. You did it. Yes, I'm pointing at you. You voted for it. You wanted it. Bragg ran on it. You did it by 60 points. You voted for it. You want to change it? Stop voting for this crap. And please, God, don't move down here and bring this garbage down here to Florida and vote for this crap down here. You want to vote for chaos in the streets? You do it in New York City. Stay the hell out of these states where we actually care about safety.
Dan, we've heard time and time again from some of these victims' parents. They say, what about my child who was murdered? The young lady out in California, he had a long rap sheet. The dad comes on Fox and Friends and says, don't forget about the victims. Why are you protecting the criminals and not looking after the victims here and protecting my little girl? Or you have the girl who was pregnant with twins set on fire by her boyfriend, and 60% of her body is burned. They're not sure if the babies will survive. And that guy, he got out on, what, a $5,000 bond? And then look at this. This is the front cover of the New York Post this morning. This is the 22-year-old officer that was killed in Harlem. He just got married in October, and his fiancée, his widow, is now writing, they're young, they had their whole lives ahead of them, is writing, my angel, and she says, I will love you until the day I die. What about the victims?
Yeah. Ainsley, when I got on the NYPD in 1995, I was 21. So, you factor in the police academy, and I would have been out on the street roughly as a cadet when I was about 22 years old. As a police officer about a year later. I mean, look at all that's happened to me. I said this on Fox and Friends this weekend. In those 20 years, right? I'm 47 now. I mean, so much stuff has happened in my life. That stuff will never, ever happen to this hero who died. He was 22, guys.
Right.
He was 22 years old. He will never know the experience of being a grandparent. He will never have any of all of these photos he could have had with his kids at adventure parks and birthdays and confirmations and communions and ceremonies he may have had, whatever, with his kids. Those pictures will never happen. Photoshop doesn't do the trick, guys. It doesn't. It's going to bring this guy back to life. And the shame of this all, New York Post had another story this weekend. If we just kept the crime rates at 2019 levels, I'll have this in my, I'm going to cover this on my show today, 301 more people would be alive and there'd be 1,900 fewer shootings. Wow. Listen, man, if this was like some rich upper crust neighborhood and it wasn't poor minority neighborhoods, folks in those neighborhoods would be marching with pitchforks on City Hall and the State House demanding change. And you know what, Brian? The reason nobody cares, politicians, is because a lot of these folks living in these neighborhoods ravaged by crime happen to be poor and don't donate to their campaigns. That's the hard fact, folks. You want to hear it? Again, cutesy time's over. If these people had money and were donating, $20,000, $30,000 to PACs, there'd be a private police force. But nobody gives a rat's ass. And you know why? Because these poor people, that nobody cares, because they can't or they don't have the money to buy off politicians. So everybody just lets it go. They have terrible schools, terrible economy, and it's a hunting zone in their neighborhoods, and nobody cares. I worked in one of those neighborhoods, the 7-5 precinct. You have any idea how many people tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, man, will you do something about this guy on the corner? Slinging drugs over here. What? They don't matter? Well, they're not citizens too?
All the people with the fund of police, they've gone quiet. They haven't apologized. They've gone quiet. They're waiting for a controversial shooting where they could jump out against the cop, more than likely. But a couple of things I think is important is that Eric Adams got a small window, which is shrinking rapidly. My hope is he has a survival instinct in him to understand what he's taking over from, which was all hell broke loose for the last 8 years, 3 of which the criminals didn't quite realize that Bloomberg was gone and Ray Kelly was no longer there. Then they realized they can get away with everything after the riots. But now he has got to start massively cracking down. But first and foremost, he has to back the police in every way, shape, and form. And he's going to announce this week his plan. Can you give me 2 things that should be in his plan that makes you feel as though he's serious?
Yeah, they should reinstitute CompStat. They're still doing CompStat, computer statistics modeling, but use it in the sphere of broken windows policing again. Also, they need to bring back constitutional stop and frisk. Now, don't abuse it, but stop and frisk and Terry frisks, those are perfectly constitutional if you have reasonable suspicion to believe someone is doing or committing a crime. There's nothing unconstitutional about it. I'm not talking about abuse of it. Let me give you one more as well. He's talking about this new plainclothes unit. I saw the story this weekend. Why do we need a new plainclothes unit? We had one. Right. It was called street crime. And you know what? They took thousands of guns off the street and thousands of people are alive because of it. Why do you need to reimagine what worked? Listen, Eric Adams, just quick, okay? Don't create failure, copy genius. It worked. I'm not talking about abusing anyone's authority and doing unconstitutional frisks. That's not a good thing, obviously. But bring back what worked in the Giuliani era. You could do that tomorrow. But you're right. I'm telling you, I was a police officer with this guy, Adams. I hope I'm wrong, but I have zero faith when there's one police shooting, all the stuff's going to go out the window, and the defund the police lunatics are going to be out screaming again about how the cops are the bad guys.
Well, let's see what happens, because a lot of people coast to coast are terrified, and particularly here in New York City where it seems so random. Dan, thanks for your service, and thanks for joining us on this Monday morning.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Dan.
Anjali.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.